Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Car Stories. In this one, we're here with Louis Lylock with one of the cleanest 997.1 911s in town. So, Louis, got a beautiful 911 here. You've modded it so beautifully. Tell us a bit about your 911.
So it's a 2006 C2, so rear-wheel drive, 911 Carrera. I think it's the perfect spec for myself. I really wanted rear-wheel drive, I wanted manual, and silver because it's a lot easier to maintain.
Is that really the case? Silver
Oh,
is
100%.
easier to
Yeah,
maintain?
it's much more forgiving, especially we've all owned dark cars, and it's almost like the never again situation. But silver, it's forgiving unlike any other color. So it's silver on black interior.
Nice.
Because I find the black is almost the timeless look. And
This is very similar to Peter's 911.
yes, yeah. So
Is
Peter's
it the same paint or?
no, so his is a more special color. Mine's Arctic silver, so more of the basic one. But it is comparable. His has like a darker hue to it.
Yeah. So this is your first 911 then?
Yes, yeah.
And before this, what did you have?
So I had 2016 S3 prior to this, Mazzano red, beautiful car, but the pandemic happened and I didn't need a commuter, so I could have a fun car. So that reallocated that monthly expense to something I could really enjoy and be more of a Sunday driver, and I think this fits the bill perfectly for me.
What made you want to get into a Porsche?
Honestly, I wasn't like, I always loved Porsche. It's the pinnacle of the VAG brand that I love because I've been a long-time Volkswagen owner, but kind of things changed. My side hustle blew up in a good way. And with not needing to commute to the office, I was able to think of that monthly car allowance kind of thing in a different way. And I think this was the good decision for me. I'm not a JDM person. I'm not a hot rod muscle guy domestic. For some reason, the 911 for me is like the pinnacle classic look, especially this silhouette and this color scheme of a traditional European Autobahn cruiser kind of thing.
And you got this before you met the rest of the gang, I think.
No, the broader gang, I've known Lucas since we both had Volkswagens a long time ago, probably like 15 years ago or something like that.
But none of them influenced you into your buying decision?
No.
It was just...
But they quickly jumped on and helped me with the supporting mods.
What sort of mods have you done to the car?
So it's an extensive list, I think, but it's all very subtle. So BC racing coils to lower it a bit, fix the ride height. Just put on the HRE free Flowform FF01, I think they're called, this last season. But also even like the calipers that were black when I got the car, I painted them red.
Nice.
OEM red tail lights, changed the emblem at the back from Carrera to 911. I like the simplicity of it. Exhaust setup, ripped the stock setup, put a Soul Performance.
It sounds really good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts for sure. But the OEM Aero Kit was definitely my latest addition that I'm very, very happy with.
So that's a GT3 bumper, no?
It's the inspiration. The only difference is it has an inlet on the very top to make it the GT3 bumper. But this was an option in 2006 that the owner could have clicked off, or the original purchaser. So
of all the 911s, I mean, we talked about the mods, but of all the 911s, the 997 is something that...
Yeah, so obviously everyone's working with a certain budget when they start out the process. I wasn't a fan of the things that are commonly talked about for the 996, the headlights and some of the IMS issues and that kind of thing. So from all the research I did, this seems to be the sweet spot for my price range. And 2006 was the changing of that, the IMS bearing basically went from a serviceable one to a non-serviceable one. So I didn't have to worry about it with this model year for the engine. So I kind of narrowed it down, and once you're narrowing it down in the Canadian market, it's one of 3 cars kind of thing. So I actually had to fly all the way out to Vancouver for it.
Whoa, okay.
So Wyzak, amazing dealership, long time history in the Vancouver market. They've been around, I guess, 40 plus years. Made a connection with Mike, the sales manager there, and they're a pleasure to deal with. they've been servicing this car since 2008, and they sourced it for their customers. So the long history, I love that.
Nice.
Kind of, you're buying the owner as much as the seller as much as the car.
What would you say are some of the top 3 things that make it special to you?
I think the front end, so the OEM Aero Kit for sure.
Once you've modded everything, yeah.
I think there's the classic silhouette for sure. Like I said, silver on black.
Timeless.
It's timeless, 100%. You'll know no matter if it's your beautiful epic car or kind of a low version or kind of a base model. It's always the same design language, and you can tell instantly in traffic no matter where it is. It's just
that's a 911.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for the 996.
Yes, exactly. You're like, is that a Boxster? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, that is so true, eh?
Yeah, that epic GT1 is iconic, and it was one of the most iconic cars, and it shares that same front headlights. So I'd never test drove one before deciding I wanted a 997.1, and thankfully, it's perfect for me.
Yeah,
I love the driving position. You're super low. Everything seems very intuitive.
Yeah.
It's perfect. But yeah, it's not like I test drove a bunch of those and decided, okay, this is the one based on the test drive. I had in my head that it was the one before I even tried it. Oh, and this was my first rear wheel drive vehicle as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so a learning experience, completely different. But at the same time, I'm so familiar with European cars. It felt like a performance Audi or performance Volkswagen, that kind of thing.
Well, that's
familiar.
Yeah. So because you're moving from Volkswagen to Audi to Porsche, the ethos, the design, the interior design elements
100%.
are very similar.
Test drove a couple BMWs while I've kind of been on the hunt for cars, but I've never owned one.
Yeah.
I owned a Mini Cooper, was I guess owned by BMW, so that was like the closest thing. But it's always been Volkswagen, Audi, and Porsche now with a couple. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have another Porsche in the garage as well, yeah?
Yeah, very fortunate. So last year, about a year ago, we did a Euro delivery for a Macan S. So picked it up at the factory in Leipzig.
That's
unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it if you want to make it happen.
Hey, if I could get the spec I want and
exactly.
a car, I'd be doing that
man. Yeah, definitely. It's unreal. Just having like as a rental car, your own vehicle to tour around Europe as well, which is just unbelievable. Highly recommend.
Yeah, your pictures and everything turned out so amazing as well. Like it
was a core memory for me, I think.
Yeah. So the main purpose of this car you've mentioned is kind of like a weekend special.
Yeah.
Have you taken this on track or anything, or?
Well, I've taken it to Calabogie with you just for pictures. And I'm not a track guy. Like I've tracked cars, other cars, but it's never been my passion of buying a car for the track application. I enjoy the ownership experience, detailing it, meeting friends, going for coffee, going for cruises. That's kind of where my kind of enjoyment lies.
Speaking of detailing, I mean, maybe we should touch on that a little bit here too.
Yep.
I mean, you said a side hustle that's turned
so I started Cleanwagen a few years ago, and now it's going really well for sure. It keeps me busy.
You've got a lot of interesting cars that you've done as well.
That's one of my favorite parts, getting to know cars I've never owned or don't know someone that owns it. So just spending one-on-one time with a vehicle, the time flies, and I just love it. And it's spending time in the garage as well, which I just love. So
that's how this is always clean.
Yeah, exactly.
And hence why it's a clean 911.
And I can only wash my own car so much. I only have 2. So
how much clear coat is on this?
Exactly. We're just gonna take that all off.
That's amazing. I have a hard time keeping my cars clean and scratch free because I don't have the patience, and sometimes I take a rag that should not be used and I end up wiping down the paint.
It's the convenience thing, right? For sure. But also, I'm not dealing with a fleet of cars.
Yeah.
So I keep mine pretty clean.
So would you consider this 911 to be a forever car for you?
I think right now, as of today, I would, because what I could afford and what I'd want to move to don't really align right now.
Yeah.
So when they could match.
Yeah. What would you ideally want to move to then?
Well, I don't want to bring up that sore wound, but I think your old car would be the ideal for me.
997.2 GTS.
Yeah, I had rear-wheel drive, the 2, not the 4. I love all the GTS items you get, like the Alcantara touches and more sporty touches. But A, finding one, and then B, in my current price range that I want to allocate to this Sunday driver is...
Well, you just got to beat up Eric and take his 911.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I regret selling that car. I say it every time, but we won't dive into it.
But it's not like you're,
Here's the big difference between your car and my car or any car in between. This, you have to really push it to the limits to really have fun.
Right.
You have to be like almost 8/10 before you start to see the potential of this car being
Yeah, it makes sense.
close to it. And if anything, your limits hit before the limits of this car hit.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're in dangerous territory, getting arrested. And with these cars like the 911, the entry-level 911s and things like that, you can have fun still through the twisties.
Well, that's the thing. Like for this one, I don't have to be going fast to have fun.
Yeah.
Just rolling through the gears was the main thing for me. And on spec, my SUV Macan S is actually faster than this one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. It's just driving slow or moderate speeds is just, it's a engaging experience for sure.
I agree. Do you have any future mods for this?
I'd like to do the new PCCM they just released. So Porsche, amazing job investing in their older vehicles, the technology. So that'll make it a OEM plus look inside. All the trim will fit perfectly, but all the new tech. So the Bluetooth and that kind of thing that I don't have with my old school setup.
That's true. Would you consider swapping out to carbon ceramic brakes?
I'd love to. What's your terms on the loans that you can offer me?
So, okay, factory OEM PCCBs, they're like 20, 30 grand.
Yeah.
But you can get some aftermarket options for around 10 grand now.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And
it's annoying. That's the downfall of European cars especially. They're very brake dust heavy for sure. And when you don't have those yellow calipers, then it's, yeah.
I mean, does painting the calipers yellow?
Yeah, I know. I hope so. It's like flicking the switch. No more brake dust.
We should ask Peter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking the time out. We'll wrap this up, I think. This has been amazing just having you taking the time doing the video with us. Another Car Stories episode in the books. If you all enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more, and hope to bring a lot more of these car stories forward. Thank you, everyone. Thank you as well.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.